Welcome to Growth Mindstate. I'm Teresa here with Rob and Anthony, welcoming you
Hi
to the
everyone.
show.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
I hope we can keep an open mind and also educate ourselves further about relative events of the last week. How's your guys' week been?
Can't complain. Everything's been all right. Family's been doing well. Everybody's doing well. I'm hearing that the vaccine stuff is picking up. My sister's gonna be finally be a mother. Her adoption stuff seems to be going through, so I'm happy. How about you, Anthony?
Uh, so for me, I mean, I'm not going to complain about this week, and I'll be getting the first vaccine shot tomorrow. So I'm
That's
just
Mm,
great.
sitting and wait. So that's all.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah, I've been trying to get this one over here. To be
I'm
excited
gonna
about
get
signing
it.
up for it, but
I'm gonna get it. I just don't look forward to it.
I'm a big
I'm gonna
baby.
do it.
All right,
Just
so then let's jump into it. We can start with some celebrity news. Everybody see the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry Oprah interview? I mean, it's been all over the place, but I think the best part about it has been the backlash so far from the whole thing.
I mean, and I'm going to say openly, no, I have not really watched it. I've watched parts of it, but I'm attuned to what's happening, and I think it's obvious that the royalty is racist by itself. Just the idea of royalty in itself is going to cause racism. So it's almost like an unoriginal stance to make. It's like they're having to make this stance now. They're forced into a position of dealing with racism now.
Well, I think it's great. They finally put them in a position where they had to address it. I mean, everybody kind of thought that was the reason why they left. And I think they've had a lot of pressure to kind of talk about it. So, I mean, who better than Oprah to be the person they were interviewing for? So, and she brought everything out. She put everything out there. At least for the most part, they still left who it was that asked them how dark the baby's gonna be when they come out. Like, I can't even believe that they would say something like that directly to her face.
I believe it.
To her face, maybe just to Harry by himself, and then he brought it up to her. But they said it with her in the room. I can't. I can't with that.
Look, this is where I tell you that racism is not bilateral. It's not only something that white people do. Black people do it too. Like there are family members that I know who have questioned what the darkness of the skin of a baby would be in a mixed couple already, that are relatives, that I'm not gonna call out myself either, but it has happened. So I just wanted to, like, it's a racism, and it's more like they have power. That's the difference. The house, that royal house has power. So it's more like it's a systemic problem. Then it becomes like, I'm just not surprised. I want to be surprised, but it's one of those things where I know that it can happen amongst black families. So of course, a white family can ask a dumbass question. It's a question you shouldn't be asking anyway. Just
yeah,
to note that it's a dumbass question that you shouldn't be asking. But
yeah,
I think
yeah.
Archer made this joke already.
Is Archer the cartoon? You talk about the cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't watch that show too much. I saw some episodes. They're pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
And
But
I
they
uh,
go ahead.
spoilers, right? Spoilers. No, no. I was gonna say. So you go
um,
on, Teresa.
no, but they said, they caught William coming out of someplace. The reporters asked him, they asked him those hurried questions as they run and scurry off. But he was pretty much the first one to get asked, if the royal family is racist, and they said we are very much not racist. William told a reporter, adding that I haven't spoken to Harry yet, but I will do. Though Harry 36 will not reveal which member of the royal family he had the conversation with, he later shared that it hadn't been with the grandparents, Queen Elizabeth the Second and Prince Philip. In an earlier statement released by Buckingham Palace, on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, the royal said, the whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and Meghan. I mean, that right there by itself I mean, it does. It says a lot because look at how the media was going after them. It was ridiculous, the comments that were coming out, especially just for their wedding. I mean, it was full on, full blown racism that they had to really, I think that the palace and them had to make an address the press saying, take it easy. Like, this is too much. And of course, we have Piers Morgan, that spineless
Well,
asshole.
before we jump to Pierce Morgan, can we address the fact that Prince William said that they're not a racist family? Like there's a statement that can be stated that we have not done the racism. That's the thing.
Well, what else are you
It's
supposed to say when reporters are shouting at you, hey, is your family racist? I think the go to answer is no, we're not racist.
yeah, exactly. I think it's just funny too though that they have to state as a family they are not racist instead of saying, you know what, it wasn't us, it wasn't us specific. Like that would have been much more of an honest answer for me. Like if he was like, it wasn't me, it wasn't my mom or my grandma, somehow it was just somebody, it was obviously somebody in the family that did this, sorry, I don't know who it was. Like that would have been a much more honest, like I don't even want to call it an apology. Like it would just at least be a statement that is more truthful, in my opinion. But that's just that's how you've got to do it, right? They're the royal family. They just have to make a blanket statement. They're not going to over-explain it because trying to over-explain it is just going to bury them deeper. Which is, I had to tell you that that's true, right? It's just going to bury them deeper trying to explain it out.
Well, I don't even think Prince Philip has made a statement at all. And he's been someplace doing some kind of philanthropy work, and they tried to talk to him about it. He was like, smile and run away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For years, like that's always been the whole denial thing. We're not racist, right? If you have to say it, right? Like that says a lot about somebody.
Well, I think it's hard too because you gotta. I think this is the first person of color that's ever been into this family, and now you get to be that person that gets to experience all the, oh, I thought I wasn't racist this whole time, but actually it turns out I am kind of racist.
No, it's crazy though. She's super light skinned. Like most people wouldn't even notice. Like she was, had much color in her, but
But that's the thing
it's
too,
like, but they're still
especially
that
with people that
particular
are
about
lighter
it.
skinned, they say dumber things to them
Yeah, yeah.
than to they would to like a darker skinned black person because they think they can get away with it.
I don't know, man. Like I've heard some more harsher things like towards darker skin. I mean, not to get too much into like whatever, but it's just I feel like people tend to be a little more like excessive when a person tends to be a little darker skinned from what my perspective. But
But I think that Teresa's saying more that the 1% rule comes into the equation more
yeah,
here, where people of color. That's why there's a definition of people of color versus black people in a lot of areas. It's this defined use of race, and for her, she would just fall into a colored spectrum that most likely would allow her some kind of white privilege,
yeah,
and I guess that's part of the reason why I'm not so surprised by any of this and why she's probably personally hurt more than people of color who are darker skinned have
mm-hmm,
felt before, because she's like, I avoided this blockade. Like most of
yeah,
my life, I've gotten around this border because I'm a light skinned, like
yeah,
it is, for the most part it's even been complimented probably,
yeah,
only except for the worst of people probably degraded her for being black, as a being half black, or I don't even know, and I don't really care, because there are light skinned black people,
yeah,
and
yeah,
there's some truth that there are some things that they're not given, but they're not as harshly kept as black people of darker skin. And so what you're seeing is correct. It's more that she got to jump over that hurdle for most of her life. And now she's got to more deal with it. She had to deal with it. She had to literally, like, I mean, and this is like the most um active culture that you can have, is the royal family, to have this kind of conversation, right? Like it is the royal family. It is the whitest patriarchal system that there possibly could be.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
just it's the protractive. It's very real to that person.
I think that nobody had any idea exactly how bad it was going to be. I don't think though, especially like if you think back to like when they got married and everything like that, like they were saying some really awful things, like calling her a monkey too, like like really, like seriously, you know, across the pond, their racism is real, real, and they don't care about if she's royalty or not or anything like that. They really do not give a shit, and they will go after them. And we were talking about Piers Morgan. I mean, Piers Morgan's a piece of shit. He's been going after her on Good Morning Britain for as long as she's been pretty much married to Prince Harry. So we have a little bit of a little clip about them with him having a hissy fit on his show.
Yeah, check this out.
Cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
Okay, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no. Sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
this.
this.
Is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
He's gone after her for so long on his show, and he couldn't last 5 minutes with his co-anchor going and telling him and reading him for what he was been doing. And I feel like it was so shitty, not only that he took off and he couldn't take the heat, right? But also that it gave him the perfect opportunity, really, and I really think that that's what they were trying to do when they were trying to address the whole thing, was give him the opportunity to own up to being a piece of shit and really saying, because he could have turned it all around. He could have said, you know what, you're right. I went too hard and I didn't realize the repercussions of what I was doing was having on her mental state. I should have backed down and I should have set an example. And he could have changed the whole thing around. He didn't have to walk off in a hissy fit and a temper tantrum. He didn't have to do all that and then later resign, right? Because he doesn't want to be back on TV and having to own up to all that again. Like, honestly, where is your spine?
You think it's more because he embarrassed himself?
Well, we know.
Like,
I mean, you know the backstory, right?
Yeah, supposedly he helped make her famous.
I mean, it's not even supposedly. What really happened is that she went on what would be considered a date here in America, at least, like having dinner, and then basically she decided to go to a party with Prince Harry.
Yeah,
that
she didn't
night,
want to suck his dick. That's what it was.
And it just never called back. And he's just harboring those feelings. And like, dude, she never reciprocated at all. So it's not like you even got your girl stolen. It's more like he's just like, he just is harboring feelings, and it's this innate power that he feels. And the other sword being that the other edge of the sword being that actual co-anchor is the weatherman, and that weatherman gets a lot of shit from him on a regular basis. So this is actually the weather guy saying like, bro, you didn't say anything of substance the whole time. You're just trashing her, and all you're doing right now is sitting around. And he was like, I'm not going to take this from the weatherman who made fun of me. I made fun of every day for years.
And it's sad because that weatherman even talks about how they deal with racism, overt and covert racism all the time. And he was trying to address it and trying to address, Piers Morgan's racism and try to put it out there. It really was a spot for him to kind of like take back a lot of the stuff he had to say, but he didn't. He doubled down and threw a tantrum.
Would you want to come back after throwing a tantrum like that? I don't think so. I think he deserved he deserved that ridicule from the weather person, right? But he embarrassed himself, man. He's like, oh man, I was sprung, man. That's basically what it was. Dude was sprung. She ghosted him, and then
well, she got
his feelings hurt. Now
she
he
got
wants
what
to
she wanted
expose
from him.
himself.
I can completely understand that, but the problem was he didn't get what he wanted from her.
Yep.
He's mad about it. He's salty as hell about it.
Yeah, he's a dude with money, privileged dude with money, and he thought that he was deserving of something that he really didn't deserve, and he played himself. He got ghosted, and he made a fool of himself. I mean, hopefully, I don't want to say hopefully he gets a job. If he's an asshole, he doesn't really deserve anything special. But I feel, like, man, you just lost your job over, a woman that ghosted you, bro? I'm like,
And he just looks petty. Every time he would drag her, he just looked petty. He just looked petty as fuck. He just
Yeah.
cemented this.
He should have been a bigger person and just let it go. Be like, hey, I'm happy for her, this, that, and whatever. But
No,
it
because
takes
I'm
a
sure
lot
he
from
felt like
a like
I made that. I made her. I made that relationship. That was because of me. Like, what do
yeah,
you want? You want a medal?
yep, yep, yep,
It's not gonna happen. But do you think? Well, we all agree pretty much that we do believe that she's being honest. Then, do you think that Harry went against the fam, or
yeah,
did he just stand up for his new fam?
yeah, yeah. It's just a shame that they're kind of making him look like bad and making her look bad because of it. A lot of people I've seen on a lot of shows talking about how they don't believe her and they think that they're exaggerating and this, that, and whatever. But it's like, to me, it makes total sense. I'm sure all three of us feel the same way, that it, that it makes total sense that, things are happening the way they are. And I believe that they're telling the truth about it. And I believe they're trying to, walk on eggshells doing it. They're talking about it, but he's like, I really don't want to talk. Her husband was talking about, I don't want to talk too much about the family about it, this, that, and whatever. But yeah, it's true. He's basically saying certain things, but he's not like, he didn't in the interview. He didn't pinpoint who said what, said when and whatever in too much detail. And I think he's just doing it out of respect for his family. But at the same time, he's pissed and he's like, "Yo, why do I have to go through this? I love this woman. We have children together. I'm sure everybody would love to spend time together, just like any other normal family. But because they want to be so particular about race and color and whatever else, they're screwing up a lot of stuff, and now they're embarrassing themselves. There's no real benefit for them to badmouth their parents or anybody else in Britain or whatever was the monarch. What do you call it?
It's in the
United Kingdom
institution
and
The
because they
United
refer
Kingdom.
to
institution
the
monarchy.
the monarchy.
But you
Is the
understand? I mean, like that.
institution.
I don't think they benefit from doing that. I mean, yeah, they get a couple of like eyes on people on Oprah or whatever, but I'm like,
Oh no, I think this was a huge slap in the face to them. But at the same time, I am so like
but do you think they
impressed with
benefit
Harry.
from it themselves? I don't think they benefit from
Oh,
putting
I think that
themselves.
I
they
think it does, just because it
I
gives
think
them
it
an
benefits them.
yeah,
Them. So the
yeah,
the unit of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
yeah,
Um they're kind of just saying fuck royalty. Like, this is their entrance into what I think is the American capitalist oligarch. They
Yeah.
they have money. They have
Mhm.
the access to people already through the power that they have as maybe not so much. I mean, definitely Prince Harry, right?
So do you
Like,
think they're
that,
doing
which
it
is
on?
enough.
Do you think they're doing it on purpose to gain that extra thing in the
well, I think they've
here,
gotten a
or
lot
do
of
you think
shit
they're
for
doing
leaving.
it just to like why do you think they're exposing this? Like, what do you think their um purpose of doing of going on Oprah and talking about it? Other than the fact that like, but yeah, what's your opinion on that? Like, how do you
I think
feel?
that they were mad about everything, but I think they've been getting a lot of shit for leaving. And people are like, "Why did you leave? Why did you leave?" And I think that this was an opportunity for them to really tell their side, because it's disheartening. She felt overwhelmed. She felt, suicidal. She felt I can imagine an extreme amount of depression from this, because it's terrible to have people telling you what they think of you all the time. I mean, with no filter, they're telling you that the how dark is your baby going to be, all kinds of stuff. I mean, that's constant mental abuse. And I think they're calling the family out, big time about it, because she was asking for help. And kudos to Harry big time, because he was like, this is my family, this is my wife, and this is my child that are going to have to live in this, and I can't stand by. And if the institution is not going to give them the help that they need, I'm going to take them out of this situation, and I'm going to make it better for the both of them. He took care of his family first, and said screw this to the institution, which I think he's had problems with his whole life. You know, he's always been that kind of like that wild child, Harry, running around with the princesses, having parties and everything like that. But he's always been
Prince Harry, Wild Child. If you want to go
he's
back, it was Prince Harry, Wild Child. Yeah.
he's always been he's always been great as a soldier, and he's always had a sense of duty and honor for his country, at the root of everything. But I think when it comes to the institution, he's had a lot of clashes with it. but he's never really wanted to like challenge his brother with anything that was going on. He kind of let him, take the reins of everything and do that. That's fine. But he was always a great philanthropist. He was always a great soldier. Nobody can take that away from him. And I think when he left, that was a lot of people thinking that he was shunning his country, and it wasn't. It was him looking out for the best for his family.
I just wanted to, I didn't know if there were like some other underseated, like whatever thoughts, not underseated, but you know what I mean, like anything that aside from exposing them, like like you made it seem like, well, I don't want to say you made it seem, but when you said what you said, I got the impression of like for the benefit aspect, like like maybe there were some other reasons.
Who knows? It might be a reality show coming out with Meghan and Harry. Who knows? But right now,
I doubt that they would go that far. I think that they want just the clout. And honestly, when I watched part of the interview, they made very sure to indicate that Oprah didn't know. Oprah didn't tell them what the questions would be, and also they live up the road from Oprah now. Like she was very. They made it very clear that like this is like a coincidence of power. Like there's two people they're like, oh, I'll talk about it, why not? Like you're gonna keep talking shit about us, then we're gonna finally go on air and tell you what we have gone through. We don't really have much to lose.
And I could totally see Oprah walking down the street with a friggin' fruit basket talking about, hey guys, you want to talk about this? I know everybody's been asking you, but you can always come down to my house and we'll talk about it. I know if I was Oprah, I'd be wanting to do the same thing.
Yeah. Definitely.
But I looked into, because their son is not considered a prince, and I was looking into why he's not considered a prince. And they said that there was a decree issued by King George V in 1917 that limits the titles of princes and princesses to the children of the monarch, sons of the eldest living son, and the eldest son of the Prince of Wales. So that would be only like, Harry's brother would only have a prince. Yeah, but at the same time, the queen can override that. So she has it within her power to actually make their son a prince. But, who knows why she doesn't want to do that.
I have this weird question. Like, do you think that the queen cares anymore? Do you think the queen is like
absolutely
just riding this out until the end of her grave, and she's gonna be like, the monarch's done after this?
Nope. I absolutely do not think that. I think she's got her fingers in every little thing that she can possibly do, and I'm sure they're all waiting. But she's probably gonna outlive Philip and everybody else anyway, for as long as she's been around.
Forever. I think they cloned her, man. She's been here forever.
She might
man.
outlive Philip.